A cat got lost and traveled a really long distance, 25-80 miles, to find its owner. What happened next is amazing and hard to believe. Freddy was no ordinary cat. His bright orange fur glowed like fire in the sun, and his amber eyes sparkled with smarts. He was the most loyal and wise cat Tom had ever seen. Tom didn't plan to have a cat, but one day, Freddy entered his life and changed everything. It all happened on a busy road in San Francisco, California. Tom was driving when he saw a tiny, scared kitten running across the road ahead. With cars rushing by, Tom knew the kitten was in danger and needed help. He stopped his car on the side of the road and gestured for other drivers to slow down. Tom approached the mewing kitten, who was stuck in the middle of the road. As he picked up the kitten, he whispered, "Don't worry, I've got you now. You're safe." Ever since that fateful day on the freeway, Freddy and Tom had been inseparable. Freddy knew that he had found a home and protector in Tom, and he showed their gratitude in a myriad of ways. He would scratch every post he could find, leaving his mark on Tom's home in the most literal way possible. He would roll around on the carpet, displaying his fluffy orange fur and begging for attention. He would even sneak a bite of Tom's food when he wasn't looking, a mischievous glint in his amber eyes. Tom couldn't help but smile at Freddy's antics. Despite his demanding job as the head chef of a five-star restaurant, he always made time for his furry companion. When he returned home late at night, exhausted and depleted, Freddy was always there to greet him with a scratchy kiss and a warm cuddle. Over time, their bond only grew stronger. Freddy became Tom's constant companion, following him from room to room and offering comfort whenever it was needed. And Tom, for his part, couldn't imagine life without his loyal feline friend. Freddy had always been a street cat at heart. He knew the ins and outs of survival on the pavement, the rhythm of life in the alleys. So when Tom brought him into his apartment, it was a big adjustment. At first, everything felt foreign to Freddy. The smells of the city were replaced by the scent of Tom's laundry detergent. The sounds of traffic were replaced by the hum of the refrigerator. And instead of roaming the streets, Freddy now had to navigate a confined space. But there were some perks to his new life. The warm bed at night was a luxury he never knew. The sunny spot by the window was a perfect place for a midday nap, and the clean drinking water was a welcome change from the murky puddles he used to drink from. Still, it wasn't until Tom started bringing home gourmet treats like salmon and caviar from work that Freddy truly felt at home. Freddy had transformed from a street cat into an aristocrat in the blink of an eye. Freddy and Tom's peaceful coexistence hit a snag one day when Freddy became fixated on a bird outside the window. His constant pawing at the glass was a clear sign of his longing to play with the feathered creature. Tom, however, was hesitant to let Freddy out, fearing that he might get lost and not find his way back home. But as the days went by and Freddy's mood grew increasingly melancholic, Tom knew he had to find a way to accommodate his beloved feline friend's natural instincts. Eventually, he relented and allowed Freddy to venture outside for a few hours a day, first under close supervision. As time went by, Tom saw that Freddy proved to be a quick study and learned how to find his way back home. He would then leave one of the windows slightly open when he wasn't home. One day, Freddy was out playing with his feline friends from the neighborhood when he heard a beckoning voice calling his name across the street. A young couple stood holding out a tempting treat for him to try. Freddy's keen sense of smell detected the scent of something irresistibly delicious, and he eagerly scampered over to them. The couple showered Freddy with attention, petting him and praising him as he devoured every last morsel of the treat. But as soon as the last crumb disappeared down his throat, Freddy's body started to feel strange, and before he knew it, he had collapsed to the ground unconscious. As Tom dragged himself wearily back home from a long day at work, he was horrified to find that Freddy was nowhere in sight. Frantically, he called out his beloved cat's name and placed his dinner on the windowsill as a lure, hoping that Freddy would hear his voice and come back to him. But as the hours passed with no sign of his furry companion, Tom's anxiety skyrocketed. Was Freddy safe? Had he lost his way? Tom's mind raced with worst-case scenarios, and he dashed down to the street to scour the neighborhood for any sign of his beloved pet. He knocked on doors and asked neighbors if they had seen Freddy, but all his efforts were met with disappointment. As Freddy regained consciousness, he found himself trapped in a cage. He panicked and scratched at the bars, trying to escape. Where was he? How did he get here? Suddenly, the young couple from earlier approached with a smile that didn't quite reach their eyes. "Don't worry, little guy," the girl said. "You're going to be just fine with us." Then the man said, "He's going to make us a big profit. Have you ever seen such an exquisite Persian cat? He's worth at least $1,000. Freddie just stared at them, realizing he was in danger. The intercom announcement brought Freddie back to reality. He was on a plane to New York City, a long way from his home with Tom in San Francisco. He started to panic, realizing that all he wanted was to be back home with his dear Tom. The plane landed, and Freddie found himself being transported in a cage through airport security with the couple. His best chance was to escape sooner rather than later before the couple could take him further away. As they set the cage down on the security counter, Freddie made a grand attempt and jumped to one side of the cage abruptly. The cage came crashing to the ground and broke open, and Freddie seized his chance to run faster than ever towards the exit and out into the world, leaving the couple behind for good. However, the world he found outside was shockingly different from what he was used to. Tall skyscrapers towered above him, a sea of people crowded the streets, polluted air filled his lungs, and the constant sound of city bustle overwhelmed him. New York City was not the place for this California kitty. Freddie pointed his little nose in the air and sniffed for the scent of home. Something told him to head west, so he marched himself in that direction and never looked back. Freddie was determined to reunite with Tom. He trekked through forests, over mountains, through valleys, and even crossed rivers and streams, pushing himself beyond his limits. Freddie walked for days without much rest or food, but the thought of being back with Tom kept him going. He followed his senses, always heading west, using the sun as his guide. Freddie continued on, determined to make it back home. The license plates of passing cars read Missouri, Kansas, Colorado, Utah, Nevada, and finally, California. Several weeks had passed since Freddie went missing, and Tom was beginning to lose hope. Despite his best efforts of driving around the city before and after work, leaving treats and calling out to Freddie, he knew that he couldn't keep it up for much longer. People around him were telling him to accept the reality that Freddie was never coming back, but Tom refused to give up hope. After weeks of searching and feeling hopeless, Tom was on his way back home from work one night when he heard a soft meow from a distance. He stopped, his heart beating fast with excitement. Suddenly, from the darkness, a bright orange shape appeared. It was Freddie, but Freddie looked very different. He limped towards Tom with a hurt paw, part of his ear missing, and his fur all messy. Even though Freddie didn't look like himself, Tom recognized his meow instantly. Tom couldn't believe his eyes. He knelt down, tears rolling down his cheeks, and Freddie plopped down and rolled over at his feet. Tom picked him up, hugged him tightly, and said comforting words. "Freddie, is it really you? I can't believe you found your way back home. You're such a brave cat, and I'm so proud of you." Tom took Freddie to the vet to get him the care he needed. He learned that Freddie had gone through a tough journey, facing bad weather and many obstacles along the way, but he never gave up, and it was an incredible 25-80-mile adventure. So what would you do if your dear cat went missing? Let us know in the comments section. I hope you like this story. Please give it a thumbs up and share it with your loved ones. Also, press the bell icon to never miss the update from our channel. Thank you.